that Christmas trees are actually pagan in origins. And seeing as every single store at the moment has Christmas trees and Christmas tree decorations now, it got me thinking, what else is pagan in origin? The question is, where do these symbols come from? I started doing some research, and the Christmas tree, it actually originates from heathen practices. It was this kind of tree veneration. It's actually mentioned in the Bible in Jeremiah 10. These trees were usually evergreen, which is exactly what a Christmas tree is nowadays. They would venerate this tree during the winter solstice, and it symbolized eternal life. The modern Christmas tree actually evolved from German traditions in around the 16th century. Now, this custom spread across Europe and into North America, but the tree itself, its symbolic meaning is pagan in origin. And if these people worshipped this tree only during the winter solstice, then the dates would actually perfectly line up. Now, ornaments are linked to pagan customs as well. And often it was these offerings and sometimes these symbols which represented protection or fertility. I'm just saying this because I'm not trying to say that ornaments are all pagan. Just because a woman wears earrings like ornaments, that doesn't make her pagan. It was actually Martin Luther who first started putting candle lights in the trees. Santa Claus is actually based on Saint Nicholas, which was a Christian bishop. There has been pagan influences, but at its root, it originated from a Christian named Saint Nick. Which leads me to my next question. What actually was the first Christmas? Now, the birth of Jesus was likely around April. And of course, in April, we have April Fool's Day, so do the math on that. But it seems like the first Christians didn't actually celebrate the birth of Jesus. The earliest Christians would have actually put more emphasis on Easter Day. But it turns out that it wasn't until around the 4th century when Christians started to mix Roman traditions with Christian tradition. They started aligning themselves with festivals like Saturnalia and Sol Invictus. The birth of Jesus, that celebration was actually added on a little bit later. These were really pagan customs at first, but later Christianized to kind of align themselves together. These were people living in the same times as the Romans. Of course, there would be some kind of mixing. But you gotta understand, this is stuff that happened over hundreds and hundreds of years. That's why even though a lot of its roots are mostly pagan, I think it's important to say that that's not what people believe. See, Jeremiah 10, 1-5 says that cutting down of a tree, decorating it with gold and silver is a heathen custom. But the difference is that these guys were literally worshiping trees. Jeremiah was talking about literal idols. If Christmas for a Christian is all about Jesus Christ, then a tree really shouldn't change the meaning. Christmas trees nowadays are not worshipped. This year I'm doing it just a little bit different, but it's not because I think Christmas is purely pagan and terrible. It's just because I want to try something different. Ultimately, I think it's up to your own conscience, as long as you're not making your brother stumble. So, we've learned that Christmas didn't even exist at first. The closest thing to Christmas that they had was the actual birth of Jesus, but the birth of Jesus was probably in April. Christmas today is in December 25th, and we celebrate with evergreen trees, which were once worshipped during the winter solstice, which is exactly when Christmas is. But in that time, Christians didn't actually decorate anything. They would rather get together and sing hymns and have group prayers. It was more of this fellowship thing.